Let me try to be fast because we have a lot of time. So my research title is on optimal control model with cost-effective analysis of maize-required disease in a maize population. So the outlines are these ones. So we know that plants have a crucial role in almost all ecosystems worldwide. And when plants are infected with pathogens such as virus, bacteria, or any pathogen, so the infection might have an effect not only the ecosystem, but also not only the plants themselves, but also the ecosystems that depends on them. And one of the plants is maize, which grows globally in temperate and tropical zones of all the continents, is the leading cereal in terms of production. And it's a most widely grown consumer staple crop, with more than 100 million Africans depending on it as their main food source. And maize is infected with many viral diseases. From these diseases, maize-streak virus is the most significant and widespread disease that causes significant yield loss in Africa. Maize-streak virus, the virus is causing up to 400 million loss annually, and it's transmitted in a persistent manner by the vector Cicadulia membla. So from the graphic, you can see that the symptom of an infected maize and the vector which transmits the virus. And different scholars have given different strategies to control this maize-streak virus, but these control strategies are not giving a solution. Still, the disease is endemic in many parts of Africa, causing a destructive yield loss. So, from mathematical modeling is coming an important tool in understanding the transmission dynamics of the infectious disease, and it's important in decision-making process with control strategies of the infectious disease. So our aim is to develop an optimal control mathematical model for the maize-streak virus with the cost-effective analysis to give a control strategy which is cost-effective because of limitation of cost, because of limitation of the cost. So when we come to the model formulation, the transmission dynamics of the disease looks like this one. So we have two mutually exclusive populations of the maize, S and I, where S is a susceptible maize and I is an infected maize. And we have also two populations of the vector, which is H is a susceptible and Y is the infected population. So when these livehoppers are coming to the field of maize population and when they are eating the susceptible maize, the disease will be transmitted to the maize and they become the infected. They will join the infected compartment of a maize. And when those susceptible livehoppers come to the field and where they are when they are eating an infected leaf, they become infected and will join the infected compartment. So, taking different assumptions, the model is governed by this one. The model is governed by this equation. So our target is to give a control strategy which is cost effective. So using optimal control theory and using three time-dependent controls. The first one is U1, which is a prevention strategy, which reduces or protects the susceptible contacting to the disease. And the second one is a quarantine strategy, which minimizes the number of infection within the population by uprooting and burning the infected population from the field. And the last one is a chemical control strategy, which is just act as a dress for the maize population and protects it from the livehopper. And after incorporating the control strategies on the given model, then we get an optimal control model, which looks like the equation 2. And then our target is to find an optimal values for our model with minimum objective function, which is given by this one. The objective function is d1, the integral of from 0 to f of d1i plus d2y plus 1 over 2 w1 u1 square plus w2 u2 square plus w3 u3 square, where d1 and d2 are the costs that will be taken to reduce the number of infected and infected maize and infected live hopper, and W1, W2, W3 are relative costs for the controls that will be taken to control the maize-streak virus transmission. So our goal with the given objective function is to minimize the number of infection of maize and the number of infected live hoppers while minimizing the cost of the controls. And our target is to find optimal triple controls such that minimizes our objective function. So when we come to the model analysis, we use the point-reduced maximum principle to derive the necessary conditions that an optimal control will satisfy. And this principle converts the objective function and the model, the optimal control model, into a problem of pointwise maximum principle, which is given like this one. Then we find an optimal control U and the objective solution, the state solution that minimizes our objective function, such that there exists an adjoint equations that can be obtained by using point-reduced maximum principle. I think these ones are mathematics. So we obtain those equations and we form an optimality system. Then using this optimality system, the optimality system is the collection of optimal equation, adjoint equation, and the initial and transversal conditions. So using this equation, we apply numerical simulations, and we study the numerical effect of each strategy, effect of each optimal control state, and the diseases, in the spread of the maize-streak virus. And the solutions are obtained from an optimal control system, and we use forward-backward iterative method to simulate, and we investigate and compare numerical results following different scenarios. Most scholars and researchers will recommend to use integrated strategy instead of single control strategy to combat the given infectious disease. So we use the integrated strategies from A to B. So prevention with chemical control, prevention with quarantine control, prevention with chemical control, and all control strategies at the same time. So when we are using using control strategy has a significant difference in reducing the number of infected mazes and infected live hoppers as compared to the situation when there is control. So which means that the prevention and chemical control strategy has an effect in reducing the transmission dynamics of the maize-streak virus disease from the maize field. So you can look from the graph that the red lines are, the red curves are the control strategies when we are using control strategy, and the blue line shows that when there is no control. So from the graph you can understand that using prevention and chemical control strategy, we can able to reduce the number of infection as compared to the situation when there is no control. And similarly, when we are when we are using prevention and quarantine strategy, you can see that the red lines are coming to significantly drops the number of infection as compared to the situation where there is no control. So it's effective in reducing the transmission of maize-streak virus in specified time. Similarly, the third control strategy is quarantine and chemical control strategy. Similarly, you can see that using this strategy, we can able to reduce the number of infection within the maize population by when we are comparing to it with no control strategy. So it's important in reducing the maize population from the community as a specified time. And the last one is using all control strategies. You can see that it also reduces the number of infection of maize and infected live hopper from the population when we are comparing it with the live hopper, when we are comparing it with controls without control strategies. However, you can see that all the graphs looks like similar. So it's not able to identify which control strategy is cost effective or more important in reducing the transmission dynamics of this control strategy. So that to identify or to rank the implemented strategies in terms of their cost and health outcome, we apply cost effectiveness analysis. So we use the incremental cost-effectiveness ratio to determine the best strategy in terms of cost. So the incremental strategy is obtained by that formula, the difference of the costs between two strategies over the difference of the total number of infection averted on each strategy. So we use their respective cost function to calculate the total cost of each strategy, and we subtract the infection number with control from without control to find the total number of infection averted for each strategy. So we use these strategies, this integrated strategy for pairwise comparison. So we ordered the strategies with from A to D with increasing order of effectiveness. So strategy A, B, C, D, we have these ones, and the costs that they have taken and the number of infection averted are here. Then using the incremental cost effectiveness ratio, you can see that the incremental cost effectiveness ratio of strategy A is 1.695 and strategy B is 0.819. Then clearly you can see that strategy A is more costly than strategy B, so that we exclude from set of alternative and we compare to B and the next strategy C. Then comparing strategy B and C, you can see that the incremental cost effectiveness ratio of B is 1.11 and C is 21 point. It's clearly strategy is more costly than strategy A, so we exclude strategy C and we are going to compare strategy B and strategy D. So comparing these two strategies, you can also clearly see that from the number, strategy D is more costly than strategy B. So strategy B is the cheapest of all control strategies. So to remove the infectious disease from the or to control the infectious disease from the maize population. So as a conclusion, we established an optimal control strategy for maize virus with three time-dependent control strategies. We obtain an optimal system from the optimal control model, and we analyze numerically on the optimal control optimal system. And from this optimal system, from the numerical simulation, we obtain that each strategy have a power to combat the disease from the community. However, we need, because we have a lack of shortage of budget or cost, we need a cost-effective strategy so that applying cost-effectiveness analysis, we obtain that prevention and quarantine is cost-effective strategy, and we therefore recommend government stakeholders and policymakers and stakeholders to apply and disseminate the integrated intervention strategy to the farmers to fight the spread of maize virus disease and to produce the expected yield in the maize field. Thank you for watching me.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Haileyesus, for your presentation. Now we finished all